20-year-old Alex Eala walked into the interview room after defeating an Olympic gold medalist, and the word she chose was ammunition. Not relief. Not gratitude. Not excitement. Ammunition. That single word told you everything you needed to know about where her head was, and it sent a message directly to one locker room in particular. But to understand why that word landed the way it did, you have to go back further. Back to a clay court in Stuttgart 3 months earlier, where the last chapter of this rivalry was written in the most brutal way possible. It was April 2026. Round of 32, Porsche Tennis Grand Prix. Leylah Fernandez across the net. The match lasted an hour and 28 minutes, and the scoreline was 6-1, 6-4. Tennis Channel called it pure control, no mercy. Alex was broken while serving to stay in the match. She walked off that court having been dismantled, erased, and dismissed in less than 90 minutes. She did not post a defiant caption. She did not release a statement. She boarded a flight to Mallorca, went back to work with her coach Joan Bosch and Tony Nadal, and said nothing. Because the only answer she was willing to give would have to come on a court. 61 days later, she lifted her first ever grass court title at the Lexus Birmingham Open, surviving a brutal 3-setter against Nikola Barčanová, 5-7, 6-3, 7-5. 2 weeks after that, she was at Wimbledon, taking down Iga Swiatek in straight sets, 7-6, 6-2. Career high ranking of world number 28. 89% of the WTA fan vote for player of the grass swing. That was the answer she had already given Stuttgart in private. Wednesday night in Washington, she gets to deliver it in person. And that is what makes this match something the tennis world has not seen in years. Because the woman waiting for her across the net is not just any opponent. Leylah Fernandez is the defending DC Open champion. She lifted this trophy last summer, dismantling Anna Kalinskaya 6-1, 6-2 in the final. She has draw protection, home court advantage, and a seeding of number 7, despite sitting at world number 34 on the actual WTA ranking sheet. Read that again. Alex, ranked 28 in the world, walks into this tournament unseeded. Fernandez, ranked 34, walks in protected. The number sits on paper, but the implication hangs over the entire draw. And Fernandez has done nothing to cool the temperature. In her only published press conference before this match, she talked about Venus Williams. She talked about Shake Shack. She talked about replicating the mindset that won her this title last year. What she did not mention, not once, was Alex Eala. She did not need to. She had a scoreline. 6-1, 6-4. When you hold that kind of receipt, you do not need to speak. Except something changed between Stuttgart and Washington, and the signs were everywhere for anyone paying attention. When Alex walked out on center court Tuesday night for her opening round match, the arena already felt different. Filipino flags lined the practice courts before a single ball had been struck. The crowd was louder than anything a first-round match at a WTA 500 has any right to produce. Across the entire DC Virginia-Maryland corridor, millions of Filipino Americans had circled this week on their calendars. Back in Manila, fans were setting alarms for 11 p.m. This was not a tennis crowd waiting for a match. This was a nation waiting for a moment. And then Alex Eala went down a set and a break against Zhang Qinwen, former world number 4. 2024 Olympic gold medalist. The kind of opponent who does not give sets back once she takes them. The math, at that point, said the match was slipping. The math was wrong. Alex won 7 consecutive games against an Olympic champion in her Washington debut. Final score, 4-6, 6-4, 6-1. 7 straight games from behind, in the heat, with flags waving and an entire country watching. That is not a first-round win. That is a resume submitted directly to Leylah Fernandez's locker room. And then she walked into the press room and said the word. Ammunition. I have a bit more ammunition to back it up. That is not the vocabulary of a player hoping to be competitive. That is the vocabulary of a player who believes she is owed something. Now consider who said the loudest thing about her, and it was not a fan account. Mark Ein is the chairman of the Mubadala City DC Open. He owns the Washington Castles. He has spent decades running the second biggest hard court event of the North American summer swing. His entire professional existence is built around understanding what puts bodies in seats and what drives ticket demand. And this week, in front of the assembled tennis media, he said something tournament chairmen almost never say. He publicly conceded that a single unseeded player was driving the demand for his entire event. At least 80%, he said. At least 80% of the ticket requests in this tournament are about when Alex Eala is playing. And then he added the word that carries the most weight coming from a man whose livelihood depends on getting it right. Worldwide. Not just in the Philippines. Worldwide. When a tournament chairman volunteers that admission on the record, the day before a round of 16 match, it means something has already shifted and the match has not even started yet. And then there is the deeper signal, the one that the mainstream tennis conversation has not fully caught up to yet. According to Joan Bosch, Rafael Nadal approached Alex himself. Not because anyone asked. Not out of obligation. Because he watched her play and he saw something he felt compelled to engage with. When the man widely regarded as the greatest fighter the sport has ever produced takes the initiative to advise a 20-year-old, it is not a courtesy. It is a recognition. And the rest of the tour is about to understand why he moved first. Compare all of that to what Leylah Fernandez has been carrying into Washington. Her 2026 season record entering this tournament was 12 wins and 19 losses. Wimbledon, second round exit, the same round she exited in 2023, 2024, and 2025. In her own words, spoken on the record July 25th, it has been a little bit of a rough stretch. The defending champion arrived in Washington one bad week away from a full-blown crisis, sheltered by a seeding that reflects her 2025 peak rather than her 2026 reality. She needed this tournament. She needed this surface, this crowd, this title. What she did not need was Alex Eala finding form at the exact wrong moment. And now they are meeting in the round of 16, center court, 8 p.m. Washington time, with the stakes extending far beyond a quarterfinal slot. Because what follows this match is the entire North American hard court summer. If Alex wins Wednesday night, the path forward likely runs through Jessica Pegula or Aryna Sabalenka, one match away from a WTA 500 semifinal on hard courts, something no Filipino woman has ever reached. From Washington, the tour moves to Montreal for the Canadian Open, which happens to be Fernandez's home soil. And then comes Flushing Meadows, the US Open, where Alex is already confirmed to partner Venus Williams in the doubles draw. The same Venus Williams that Fernandez has publicly called her mentor. The mentorship quietly changed hands, the tennis world noticed, and nobody said it out loud until now. For a Filipino audience, millions at home and millions more spread across the American East Coast, this is not a round of 16. This is the closest the WTA has ever come to producing a Manny Pacquiao scale moment on the women's side of the draw. That is not hyperbole. That is the word Leylah Fernandez is about to walk into. And still, none of this erases Stuttgart. That scoreline exists. 6-1, 6-4. Alex broken while serving to stay in the match. Staring at a second consecutive first-round exit on the European clay swing. Fernandez dominant, composed, and clinical from the first game to the last. That happened. It is on the books. And the version of Alex Eala who walked off that court was not ready for Leylah Fernandez. But that version of Alex Eala has not existed for over 100 days. Between April 15th and July 29th, she rebuilt herself entirely. A grass court title. A Wimbledon win over a former world number one. A career-high ranking. Fan vote dominance across the entire swing. A coaching structure that now includes the man who turned fighting back from impossible positions into an art form. The trajectory that analysts said would take 2 more years arrived in one summer. The people who saw it early were right. Every draw sheet in every WTA 500 right now is evidence of it. Fernandez wanted to reproduce her 2025 magic. She wanted to return to the mindset that made her untouchable on this court last summer. What she has not reckoned with is that the Alex Eala she is preparing for is not a photocopy of the one she beat in April. The arena was built for Alex before she ever walked inside it. She has already shown Washington what she looks like from behind, down a set and a break against an Olympic champion, winning 7 straight. She walked into this draw carrying a wound from Stuttgart and turned it into the word ammunition. Fernandez did not know she owed a debt. Wednesday night at 8 p.m., center court, Washington, D.C., Alex Eala arrives to collect. The match did not begin with a coin toss. It began 3 months ago on a clay court in Stuttgart, and everyone in that arena knew it. When Alex Eala walked out onto center court Wednesday night, the roar that greeted her was not a tennis crowd being polite. It was something older than that, something that does not show up in attendance figures or broadcast ratings. Filipino flags filled every section. Families who had driven hours from Virginia and Maryland stood before she had even reached the baseline. In Manila, it was past midnight, and millions had not slept. They were not going to. Leylah Fernandez walked out to applause. Alex walked out to something that shook the walls. And then the match started, and Fernandez reminded everyone immediately why she was still dangerous. The first set belonged to the defending champion. Fernandez was precise, aggressive, and completely unbothered by the noise surrounding her. She had played in hostile environments before. She had won this title in front of crowds before. The crowd was loud, but Fernandez had learned long ago how to use silence as a weapon, how to stay cold while the temperature around her rose. She broke early, held comfortably, and closed the first set with a kind of controlled authority that made Stuttgart feel like a prophecy repeating itself. The murmur that ran through the arena in those first 40 minutes was not panic. But it was something close to it. Because the question that had lived under every conversation about this match, the one nobody had wanted to say out loud, was suddenly audible. What if Stuttgart was not an outlier? What if Fernandez simply owned this matchup regardless of surface, regardless of momentum, regardless of everything Alex had built across the last 100 days? Rankings, grass titles, Wimbledon wins, Nadal's attention, ammunition. What if none of it mattered when she stood on the other side of the net from Leylah Fernandez? First set gone. The debt uncollected. And then Alex Eala stopped waiting for the match to come to her. The shift did not happen on a single point. It happened across 3 consecutive games in the second set, subtle enough that you could almost miss it if you were watching the scoreboard instead of her feet. She started taking the ball earlier. Started redirecting instead of absorbing. The rallies that Fernandez had been winning in the first set by extending, by forcing one more ball, by making Alex hit one more shot under pressure, those same rallies started ending differently. Not because Alex hit harder. Because she stopped giving Fernandez the extra ball to work with. It was the adjustment Joan Bosch had been building toward for months. And Tony Nadal's fingerprints were on every moment of it. Because what Nadal taught, more than footwork or tactics or shot selection, was how to deny your opponent the rhythm they came to the court expecting to find. Fernandez arrived expecting the Alex from Stuttgart, a player who could be pressured into errors, who could be broken in the critical moments. She found something she had not prepared for. The second set went to a tiebreak. What happened inside that tiebreak is the kind of 7 minutes that people who were in that arena will describe to their grandchildren. Every point swung momentum. Every error felt catastrophic. Every winner felt like a declaration. Fernandez clawed back from deficits. Alex answered each time. The crowd had stopped being a crowd and had become a single organism, breathing together, going silent together, erupting together. Alex Eala closed the tiebreak 7-4. 1 set all. The Stuttgart debt still on the table. Everything now riding on one final set in front of a building that had stopped pretending to be neutral 20 minutes into the match. What Fernandez did next revealed something important. She did not collapse. She did not lose her serve immediately. She fought in the way that champions fight, grinding through games that should have broken her, holding on with the quiet ferocity that had won her this title 12 months earlier. 4-3 games in the third set, she made Alex earn every single point. But the momentum had already moved. Not visibly, not dramatically, but in the way that momentum moves in matches between elite players, irreversibly and without ceremony. Fernandez was no longer dictating. She was surviving. And surviving against the version of Alex Eala that had been assembled across 104 days of grass courts, training blocks in Mallorca, and a first-round comeback that announced itself with 7 straight games against an Olympic champion. Surviving is not enough. Alex broke in the 5th game of the 3rd set. She held. She broke again. She closed it out serving at 5-2, and when the final ball landed in the net on Fernandez's racket, the sound that came out of that arena was not a cheer. It was something that had been held in for 3 months, across a Stuttgart scoreline and a transatlantic flight and 61 days of silent work, and it came out all at once. Alex Eala stood at the baseline for a moment before anything else registered. Then she looked up at the stands, at the flags, at the midnight crowd in Manila watching on phones and laptops and television screens, and the expression on her face was not triumph. It was recognition. Like she had always known this was where the story was going, and the only question had ever been when. The scoreline read 3-6, 7-6, 6-2. Stuttgart was answered. The debt was collected. And the North American hard court summer now belongs to a 20-year-old from the Philippines who flew home from a clay court loss, said nothing, and went back to work. Montreal is next. Then Flushing Meadows. Then Venus Williams in the doubles draw at the US Open. The chapter that opened Wednesday night in Washington is nowhere near finished.